Major move for the Dolphins. They are benching starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, starting rookie quarterback Quinn Ewers against the Bengals per the insiders. Coach Mike McDaniel said all options were on the table to improve, and he chose the option that leads to a new quarterback. We have wondered all year long what the future looks like for the Dolphins once they started slow. Would the organization decide to keep their coach? Would they decide to keep their quarterback? Caroline, I don't know if you're benching your starting quarterback. If you're benching Tua right now, it feels to me like the coach and the organization is making a statement on at least part of this. They have made a definitive decision. You don't come back from this. This isn't Bryce Young a couple years in. This isn't a medical thing. If you are just turning around and you are benching Tua for Quinn Ewers, you are telling your entire fan base, the entire league, that you are out on a quarterback that will have massive salary cap consequence next year to simply move on from.
This isn't a move that you can just undo as well. This isn't something that you say, okay, we're going to bench Tua and see how it goes with Quinn. And if it doesn't go the way that we thought it was going to go, we'll go back to Tua. No. That's not how that works. Tua Tagovailoa no longer will be the starting quarterback or the quarterback period in Miami. And that has to be a calculated decision because Miami is entering into absolute cap hell because of this decision. The numbers are as follows. He has $54 million guaranteed, whether he takes a single snap in a Dolphins uniform or not in 2026. On March 15th, $3 million of his 2027 salary becomes guaranteed. $3 million, kind of chump change, but cutting him would be a $99 million cap hit in dead money. $99 million. Post June 1st would be $68 million in dead money. So this had to have been a decision that all of the powers that be, all of the powers that exist in Miami, ownership, general manager, head coach Mike McDaniel, they all had to be in agreement saying, look, we are willing to enter into total and complete financial misery because we don't believe in Tua. That's a shocking decision, frankly, Fitz. I don't necessarily disagree with it because I got up on the show yesterday and I wholeheartedly believe, and I said, as long as Tua is your starting quarterback, you won't win anything of substance. You won't win anything that matters. You might just win enough to take yourself out of the quarterback sweepstakes in upcoming drafts. So this is Miami's official planting of the flag and saying, we understand that Tua isn't going to get us to the promised land, and we are willing to take on whatever financial hit it's going to take.
This is where so many fans will say, well, the Broncos took a massive hit for Russell Wilson. The Broncos took that hit.
Yeah.
If you watched any of Inside Coverage and if you checked any of Charles Robinson's reporting, he made it clear the Broncos were very comfortable knowing that they had a path to Bo Nix, knowing that they had a path to a quarterback that Sean Payton loved. I would argue, go back and watch what we've been talking about all morning. There's a very real chance that other than Fernando Mendoza, there isn't a single quarterback even available in this year's draft. And the Dolphins don't have the ammunition to get up above every other team, especially considering the fact that there's a very real possibility the team picking first overall needs a quarterback. So you don't have a path to a quarterback. And I want to add one other financial number to this that's incredibly important. According to overthecap.com right now, if you look at the 2026 cap space, the fourth least in the entire NFL is the Miami Dolphins, who as of today sit over $11 million over the cap. So they're going to have to take an accelerated cap hit that is massive while they are already over the cap. This is absolutely, without question, the beginning of what would have to be a massive tear down and rebuild for the Miami Dolphins. They are telling you by doing this today that they're out on Tua with no clear path to a replacement quarterback, without the money to really fix the roster or fix the quarterback position. Miami Dolphins are flat out telling you, we accept today that we are screwed. And the only way we're going to get better is if we rip the Band-Aid off and get really bad to try and improve things. Yes, that might be the real path to doing it. I just think that what we have to accept today is that a massive rebuild is starting in Miami.
And look, while they may be in total and complete cap hell, That has to be something that Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, understands and is willing to cough up the cash up front. That's how the salary cap in the NFL is so malleable. It's like a bunch of Play-Doh in your hands. You can kind of morph it and shape it however you really want to. But when you have, let's say, a $70 million cap hit or whatever it might be for Tua, massive cap hit, what you're then going to have to do is then convert a ton of other salary into a signing bonus that doesn't get counted against your cap. What's a signing bonus? That's a check in your pocket today. That is cash that Stephen Ross has to be willing to cough up right now at this second in order to be below the salary cap. So this is not a move that's made without the express written consent of that man right there and him understanding and saying, I will pay today liquid cash out of my pocket right now in order to make this team better over the next 5 to 10 years versus continue to stay in the just bad enough to be bad and just good enough to stay out of the quarterback sweepstakes. I do think, and I think there are so many, butterfly effects and what ifs that we can play in life and in sports, of course. What if the Dolphins drafted Justin Herbert? Because that was kind of the thing in the 2020 draft, right? We knew Joe Burrow was going to go number 1 overall to the Cincinnati Bengals. And the question was the Chargers and the Dolphins, both quarterback needy teams, who goes first? And we can play the shoulda, coulda, woulda game all day long. I know we can, but I can't help but think if Justin Herbert was a Miami Dolphin, the Dolphins would be a perennial playoff contender.
This is where I don't know. I don't know that there's anything worse in the NFL than signing an average quarterback to an elite contract, because when you try to get out of it, there's just never an easy way to do it. You're right. If Justin Herbert were a Miami Dolphin, I think we'd be seeing this wildly differently today. And now, suddenly if you're the Dolphins trying to figure out how to build from where you are today, will Mike McDaniel be part of this rebuild, whatever this rebuild looks like? There are also just minutia for people. You can only designate 2 people on your roster as a post-June 1st cut. So when you do that, you're taking somebody, you're saying, hey, we want part of the cap money to hit a different year. Why does that matter? Well, as of right now, if you look at the 2026 cap number, the cap number for Tyreek Hill is $52 million, almost $52 million. If they could designate part of that June 1st, but again, they only get 2 of those that they're going to do. Bradley Chubb has a $31 million cap number. So all of these things, you're now looking at a 51, a 31, and a $67 million cap number post June 1st that you're all going to have to work out through this. This is really difficult math for Miami. So even if they just take care of the easy contracts, Tyreek and Bradley Hill being the easy ones, and then they try to figure out how to post-designate Tua, they're still going to be in cap hell. This is a worst-case scenario. And then I would ask you, would you keep Mike McDaniel? If we're saying rebuild, I'm saying it's going to take 3 years. I think every NFL team should just accept that a rebuild is a 3-year process at least. So are you willing to commit to Mike McDaniel? If you're lucky, are you willing to commit to Mike McDaniel for a rebuild process with no clear path to a quarterback that you think is at least going to take 3 years? That's hairy to me.
That I don't know. And this might be the ultimate Mike McDaniel throwing a life raft out for himself kind of move. I wouldn't be surprised if ownership came to him and said something has to give. Okay, we'll bench the quarterback. And I think, why stop at Tua? Right? They already sold at the trade deadline. Nobody would be off the board for me. Devon Achane, sure. Put him out there on the trade market. Jalen Waddle, sure. Put him out there at the trade market. I think at this point, just go ahead and sell everything, trade everyone. And at that point, why not fire everyone too? If you are going to completely rip this thing down to the studs, to the point where you are benching your $250 million quarterback, why should anyone be safe?
Which is part of why I continue to die on the hill that rebuilds can't be half-assed. If you are going to, every sports franchise is afraid to say the word rebuild, and they're afraid of what it's going to do to their fan base and what it's going to do to morale. I think it's the opposite. When you constantly dangle the carrot of, no, we're going to be competitive right now, what you do is you give everybody around it expectations that are unreachable. I just want once an organization, the owner, Stephen Ross, I want Stephen Ross to stand in front of a microphone and say, you know what? We're rebuilding this thing because it's not good enough and it sucks. And we're going to have to take it all the way down to the studs to rebuild it. And that's going to take a few years to do. I genuinely believe, Caroline, that if an owner ever stood at the mic with an accountability for why they sucked and a real plan of how to fix that they suck, they would get a level of patience and understanding from their fans that they never knew existed.
Transparency, I think, is so key. Dolphins fans know it. They feel it. I know the 4-game winning streak was really fun and it was really exciting and it got all of us, it piqued our interest of what the Dolphins could do throughout the rest of the season. But let's not let a fun little 4-game winning streak overshadow the dark cloud that really was a majority of the season for the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins fans know it. They see it. They know the writing is on the wall. They just want their team to win. I think transparency from ownership to say, this is our plan moving forward. This is why we decided to do this. But trust me, here's our vision for what this team can be over the next decade, I think is incredibly valuable.